Hello, we are back this week on Delight Channel talking about the Made Simple series and focusing first on Career Made Simple. Thanks always for being here. And last week we started talking about interviews. And after that episode, I got some feedback that I needed to spend some time to talk about some soft issues around interviews. It seemed like the last episode focused on the more hard, concrete stuff around the interview. So let me just take this episode to kind of focus on the very soft things around the interviews, all right? So remember, interview is an opportunity for you to sell, not just tell. Now, what does that really mean? When you are selling, you don't talk about the content of the product or the ingredients of the product. You talk about what results the product is able to give. As an example, if you see any of those guys that hawk, sometimes in our commercial buses or around the street, you notice they don't tell you that this drug is made up of this chemical and this product and this product. What they tell you is, if you take this and you have this ailment, it's going to disappear in 2 days. If you take it, it doesn't make you sleep. If you take it, it doesn't give you any rash. It's the same thing. It is not about whether you made a first class or whether you have this. Those things are good to tell, but it's more about what impact have you made, what impact can you make. And the more relevant your history that you're able to fetch and show, the easier for the interviewer to appreciate what you are saying and go for you. But remember that when it comes to interview, before you even sit down to do the interview, there are certain soft things that interviewers watch out for. One, generally speaking, it is considered rude that you walk into an interview room and you just sit down without being offered a seat. So what does that mean? When you get in, they always advise you, wait until you are told to sit down and then you sit down. And there's some wisdom in that advice, because sometimes there are many chairs there and you don't even know which one is yours. It could be that one of the panelists or one of the people interviewing you stood up for a break to come back in, and then you are sitting on a seat and then they have to make you stand up, and it doesn't paint you in good light. Even for you, it can destabilize you. That's number one. Number two, they will always tell you that you are not the first to offer a hand for handshake. Let the person interviewing you be the one to offer the hand. And if none is offered, what do? You pass. Third, how do you shake? You need to be able to shake firmly. When we talk about selling yourself, it's a measure of your confidence. For you out there that you think you're on the shy side, you're on the reticent side, in that space of interview, you must find a burst of energy that you can pump yourself above your usual and your normal level of energy, because that is all they see and they conclude. Now, if you shake somebody with a limp, sweaty hand and it looks like, what am I supposed to be doing here? What happened? You communicate an impression of you are not confident, you don't know what you are doing, you cannot do the job, you are a fish out of water. But when you are shaking, you must shake, get a good grip. I'm not saying squeeze or break the hand. I'm saying get a good grip and have a firm handshake. Yes, that is how to shake. And don't then hold on to the hand. And the person interviewing wants to get out of your grip and he has to say, hey, my friend, release my hand. How funny would that be, yeah? So, when you shake firmly, all right? Now, even before, I know of a very prominent Nigerian that I've never been to his office, but I hear that his office is very big and the door is on the other extreme. And this guy, he interviews everybody that works in his organization. So I heard. And I hear that between the door and his desk, you have to walk for like 2-3 minutes before you get to sit down. And believe me, that thing is not accidental. It's deliberate. So when you are walking in, this is not about pride, but you need to learn how to walk with your chest, with your head up and your shoulders straight. Don't slump, don't slouch. You need to, even when you are sitting down, don't sit down as if the chair is going to swallow you or the chair is going to burn you. Find a comfortable posture, because whether you are sitting or you are standing, your body language is the biggest part of your communication. Don't come in and be tiptoeing. I'm also not saying you come in and you are braggish, but I'm saying come in with confidence. Walk confidently. What is the worst that can happen? You get a no. Yes? No is an answer. So if you get out of the way, you are not overly cowed and you are shaking and it looks like, what am I doing here? Because employers are looking for confidence. They are looking for confident applicants. Now, talking about confidence, and I remember my time when I was interviewing one of the multinationals I've worked for. They did not understand how Nigerians will avert their eyes when they are being interviewed. You know what I mean? Somebody is interviewing you and you cannot look the person in the eye. And so you are dodging the eye, you are looking down. Look, that's one of the biggest problems we have from our culture. You need to overcome that. If you don't look the person speaking to you straight in the eye, it communicates one of two things. Either you are not confident or you are lying. Neither of that works for the selling you are trying to do. So when you are interviewing, no matter how shy you are, try to maintain eye contact. And if there are more than one interviewers in that panel, what should you be doing? Take turn to make eye contact with all of them one by one, and come back to the person asking the question. It's one of the most powerful means of communicating your level of confidence and your level of preparedness. Next, because I'm running out of time, sometimes you hear some very tough questions. Questions like, what are your weaknesses? I've been in an interview where somebody has told me, I don't have any weakness. That's the end of the interview, because if that means you are lying, or you are not even real, or you don't even know yourself. Everybody has a weakness. But what is the trick? Find the easiest or the most subtle of your weakness, but when you are talking about it, flip it and pivot it to show that it also has some advantages. Let me give you my own example. Every interview I've gone to, I say, what's your weakness? My answer is, I'm very impatient. Now, that's not something very positive, but immediately I pivot it and say, you know what? Why am I impatient? Time is very expensive. You cannot accrue time. So I don't like to waste time, and therefore I'm very driven. But I'm learning to slow down and carry my people along. Now, I have answered that question and I've dodged the bullet. But if you come and say you don't have, you are not going to score any point on that. And if you paint it only as a big liability, it could weigh you down and paint you in a light you don't want to be painted. Another question they always ask is, how much would you like to earn? And most people will say, yes, you have a policy here. Whatever your policy is what you should do. Yes, we have a policy. That's not our question. Our question is, what is your expectation? And this is where your level of preparedness comes in. But the safe thing to do when you don't have inside information is to do your own best judgment of pitching a figure, but let it be known that it is negotiable. Most organizations, even if you pitch yourself a bit too low, will give you the entry point for what you're asking for. If you then find more information between interview and offer, you can negotiate your way to higher pay. But remember that it is not just about what you say you want that determines what you get. Employer will look at, what do we pay people on the same level? How much of increment will that be from your current earning to where you are going, and a lot of other things that they consider. I can't believe it's almost 10 minutes again. I'm sorry, but I hope you have learned from this, yeah? It's a lot to talk about because interview is a major checkpoint in the career track. And I hope you've learned something today. Make it a date next week, because I will then take it a bit further as I again try to help you trace your journey on the career track in a manner that you become that compelling candidate that every employer will not be able to resist. T-Mac is still my name. Always a pleasure to see you here every week. Catch you next week, and don't ever forget that all I'm trying to do is what? Make a little difference. Bye, and have a splendid time.